So I released the list of my top 10 movies of 2023, and the link is in the description below. Let's dig into that. So there are plenty of good movies in 2023. It was like one of those years that I really enjoyed some of the movies that I watched, and I'm such a movie geek. I call myself a cinemaniac. I'm a maniac of cinema. So there are many good movies in every genre, and you could just pick 10 from each genre and still you would have a very good list. Number 10 is Elemental. Elemental was such a good animation. It was in a world where the inhabitants of that world are different elements, like fire, like water, like land, wind, anything that you could just find on Earth. There are like some sort of a resident there. And among this whole thing, there's this young lady, this fiery young lady, who kind of falls in love with water, which is kind of very prohibited in that land, and it's not kind of very customary to do that. It's not very common to do that, but it kind of opens a chain of accidents that a lot of things happen, and it's such a good interactive movie, very stunning visuals, very good work, good character building. It points out essential, very important stuff about teenage life, about adulthood, about responsibilities. A lot of good stuff is in that movie, so you have to watch that. Number 9 on my list is Old Dads. Yeah, it has 6.2 rating on IMDb, but it's a middle-aged man and his two best friends who sell their companies to this young millennia. But after a while, they have to struggle so much to adapt to these new circumstances. And the more he tries, the less he succeeds, and he gets pissed off, and everybody says that you have anger management issues, and he's like, there, doesn't know what to do. And I'm not going to tell any more about it because it spoils the movie, but it's such a fun movie because it's played by Bill Burr, and I typically love Bill Burr a lot. His comedy is such a good comedy, like the nuanced, the elegant style that he has, the way that he, tells stories and stuff. And it was actually the first movie that I watched from Bill Burr. It was kind of new for me, and I don't know if he's played any other movie or not, but this one, it rocks. I laughed so hard. So I definitely recommend that as my 9th pick. The next one on the list is Air. This might have its particular audience, but it's about when Michael Jordan was a teenager, was a growing, a promising star, and everybody wanted to sign a contract with him, especially when the shoes companies, and Nike is kind of like, nowadays we say that Adidas and Nike are such big competitors, but at that time Adidas was like way ahead, and Nike was I don't want to say a failing company, but it needed a lot of things to change to grow and to be able to compete with Adidas and other companies. So this manager of Nike, Sonny Vaccaro, which is played by Matt Damon. Matt Damon has created a character out of him, and this movie is one of those movies that is like gets stuck in your mind because of the good performances. Not only Matt Damon, but Ben Affleck, his best friend and such an iconic actor. He also plays very well. So I would definitely recommend that, because like when I went through my movies, I kind of like to bring up the movies that were stuck in my mind, that when I just read the title, I remembered the story. Though I consider those movies to be very influential, to be very effective when the story sticks into your mind. It sticks in your mind, and there are like a lot of big action movies. You watch them after a while, like a week or two, you don't remember a thing of it. So that's also one of my recommendations. Go watch it. It's a biography movie. It's based on true story, and it's really fun. It's a really good movie. The way that the company struggles, the way that they have to present themselves against very big competitors, it's very compelling. The next one is Kandahar. Kandahar is a movie about a CIA operative who has a mission in another country, but then the mission fails and he is exposed. So he has to, find an extraction route. The only extraction route he has in the Middle East is Afghanistan, like one of the worst places to have an extraction route in, but it's still like that's the only way to go. That's the only way to go. He has to go through like a very difficult, very dangerous journey to get himself to Kandahar, which is the only hope he has for an extraction. He and his translator, they go on this journey, and this is like such a good journey, such an exciting and horrifying at the same time journey. Gerard Butler has played in the movie. The lead character is Gerard Butler, and he's, as usual, he's done an outstanding job. I love the way he's played in the movie, and it's such a good movie. One of the most important points that I remember about the movie, and it kind of got stuck in my mind, is that like many of the Hollywood movies do not consider the foreign languages much, kind of don't think about it much. They just they know how to deal with the English language, but when it comes to other languages, they don't care, because they're making the movies for the English speaking audience, and most of the other languages that are in the movies, they're not understood by most of the audience. So they're not, they don't overthink it. They just bring somebody from another country and they speak the language. They just say the sentences. They don't care how it sounds in the other language. I can feel that in like a lot of movies. I can feel that the sentences, the whatever they're trying to say in a different language, it's just it seems very, very second languagey, but still they just go ahead with it. So imagine it's a spy movie, right? Like if it's a spy movie, if you're a spy in a different country and you are trying to speak the language, and if you have accent, you are doomed. You're done. Like you can't do anything about it. And in many other situations as well, if you are trying to talk, if you're trying to impersonate as a first language person and you can't, that's a problem right there. So that's one of the very, very prominent points that kind of, it's always on my mind. I just think that why aren't you casting the right person? And this movie, Kandahar, along with one other movie which is also about Afghanistan, surprisingly, The Covenant. These two movies were the only movies that I saw this year that did not have this problem. The casting was right. The people with the second language, when they talk that language, they did not have accent. So go watch Kandahar. It's worth your while. Plane is the next movie. It's also a Gerard Butler movie. He's such an outstanding character, isn't he? Like he plays very well, and I think he produces his movies as well. Anyways, Plane is such a thriller because this plane that the Captain Torrance, the leading character in the movie, tries to land it because of a very bad storm, and it's like a life and death situation, but he lands it. Like he finally lands it somewhere in a war-torn country, and among a lot of terrorists and a lot of mobs and rebels. He thinks that like this is a really good news because we could finally land the plane, because they were like, very close to crashing, but he, with his experience and the way he could see things, he just landed the plane. But he had no idea that that was just the beginning. They were just getting started, and then the problems started from there because the rebels found these individuals, they took hostages, and like this story becomes this mind-boggling thing that you just, it's a mess. Go watch it. It's fun.